After 23 days without a day off to pay for my stepson's surgery, I came home with a limp and a cheap cake. My wife looked me straight in the eye. "You think that makes up for 12 years of nothing?" Then she called her son over and told him, "Tell your fake daddy what you think of him." He replied, "Mom says you're just a wallet on legs." I just smiled. That was 2 months ago. And last night, she regretted every word she said. I'm not the kind of guy who usually shares his life online, but I need to get this off my chest. 12 years. That's how long I've been raising Michael. I met Lena when he was just 5, a small kid with oversized sneakers and a backpack covered in Pokemon pins. His biological father vanished before the kid ever learned to ride a bike. I didn't step in because I had to. I did it because that's what a man does when someone needs him. I work at a local manufacturing plant. It's nothing glamorous, but it keeps food on the table and the lights on. We've got a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet part of town. Our SUV is pushing 11 years and groans every time it rains. But we had a life. Not flashy, not fancy, but stable. About 2 months ago, Michael messed up his knee playing basketball. Torn ligament, serious stuff. The doctor said surgery was urgent or he might limp for the rest of his life. Insurance covered a chunk of it, but we were still staring down over $28,000 in out-of-pocket costs. For us, that might as well have been $1 million. But when you're family, you do what needs to be done. I picked up every overtime shift I could. Day shifts, night shifts, back-to-backs. I worked 23 days straight, sleeping maybe 4 hours at a time. My back ached so badly I could barely bend down and my knees felt like they were filled with glass. I developed a limp from being on my feet for 16 hours a day. Still, I kept going. Finally, the last check cleared. I paid the hospital in full. On my way home from work that day, bone-tired, filthy, and sore, I stopped at the discount store. Spent the last $20 in my wallet on a cheap chocolate cake, some candles, and a little card. I wanted to mark the occasion. Celebrate Michael's recovery. I thought maybe, just maybe, we could sit down together as a family and feel proud. Like we'd gotten through something hard together. I limped through the front door with the plastic bag in hand. Lena was on the couch scrolling through her phone. She didn't even glance up at first. When she finally looked at me, her expression changed like I'd dragged a sack of garbage across her clean floor. Her eyes landed on the bag, then on me. And then she said something I'll never forget. "You think this makes up for 12 years of being nothing?" I stood there frozen. My back throbbed. My hand gripped the bag so tightly the handles were cutting into my skin. I couldn't process what I just heard. Then she called out into the hallway. "Michael, come in here. Tell your fake dad what you really think of him." He came hobbling in on his crutches, still recovering from the surgery I had just bled myself dry to pay for. 17 now. Taller than me. His eyes were cold. "Mom says you're just a wallet with legs." And just like that, 12 years collapsed into a punchline. All the nights I stayed up helping with homework, all the mornings I drove him to practice, all the times I sat by his bed when he was sick or scared, it meant nothing. I was a walking ATM. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't even respond. I just smiled the smallest, emptiest smile I could manage, placed the cake on the coffee table, and walked into her bedroom. I sat down on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. See, I've never been a screamer. My father had a temper like a wildfire, and I promised myself I'd never be that man. I've always believed in staying calm, being the rock people can depend on. But something inside me shifted that night. Not my heart. That didn't break, it hardened. What broke was the last thread tethering me to the illusion that we were a real family. The morning after that conversation, I didn't go to work. First sick day I'd taken in over 5 years. Lena had already left for her shift at the mall, and Michael was out with his friends. The house was quiet, and I sat there alone at the kitchen table, staring at the faded edge of the formica, thinking. Then I got to work, but not at the factory. First stop was the bank. I opened a brand new checking account in my name only. Then I called HR and had my direct deposit rerouted. I left just enough money in the joint account to cover one final month of bills. Rent, utilities, groceries. Not a penny more. Next, I scheduled a consultation with a divorce attorney. I laid everything out. The years of thankless sacrifice, the financial manipulation, the things they'd said. He didn't look surprised. Told me to start documenting everything. Receipts, transactions, conversations. In my state, I was legally allowed to record what happened in my own home. So I started. I installed discrete security cameras in the common areas of the house, not to spy, but to protect myself. My lawyer said it could make all the difference if things got messy. I took photos of everything valuable, designer handbags in Lena's closet, Michael's gaming setup that probably cost more than my first car, even the mountain of fast food receipts and Amazon packages stacked by the door. I also started noticing things I'd ignored for too long. Restaurant charges on our shared credit card from nights when I was working overtime. Whispered phone conversations that would go silent the second I walked into the room. Late-night laughter from Lena when she thought I was asleep in the spare room. Oh yeah, I moved into the spare bedroom. Told Lena my back hurt and I needed a firmer mattress. She didn't argue. She was probably relieved. I didn't stop being the quiet, dependable guy. I went to work like always. I nodded when they spoke to me. I still picked up groceries and paid for Michael's physical therapy sessions. But inside, I was gone. 2 weeks in, I got a letter from the mortgage company. 3 months behind on payments. Foreclosure was looming. I froze. I had left money for the mortgage in our joint account. Should have been paid. I logged in and saw it zero balance. Lena had drained the account. I paid the overdue amount from my new account, silently furious. That night, while Lena scrolled her phone and Michael played games, I installed the last camera in the living room. They didn't notice. The next day, her card got declined at the grocery store. She called me from the checkout line, furious. What the hell, Alex? My card isn't working. I stayed calm. That's strange. Must be a banking issue. You should call them. She did. And they told her the deposits had stopped. That's when the text started. Where's the money? What are you doing? How dare you? What kind of man leaves his family like this? That evening, when I walked in the door, Lena stood waiting like a loaded gun. You think you're funny? What are you trying to prove? I looked her dead in the eye and said, You told me I was just a wallet with legs, so I figured it was time for the wallet to log out. Her face froze, pale, then flushed red, like someone had reached through her chest and flicked a switch she didn't know existed. But I didn't stop. Over the next 2 weeks, she alternated between sugary sweet manipulation and full-blown tantrums. One night, she made my favorite dinner and asked if I wanted to cuddle like old times. The next day, she screamed at me in the driveway loud enough for the neighbors to peek through their curtains. Michael, he didn't say much. He'd gone cold toward me after that wallet comment and hadn't warmed back up. But I kept paying for his therapy sessions directly. I made sure his needs were met, quietly, without acknowledgement. Not for Lena, for him. Then came the turning point. One evening, I found Michael's tablet on the couch, still unlocked. Curiosity got the better of me. I opened his message threads. There it was, dozens of messages from Lena to him. Just be nice to Alex for a few days. We need money for your trip. He's an ATM baby. All you gotta do is press the right buttons. He'll pay for it if you act like you care. Trust me. I felt sick. All the affection. All the small moments I thought were real, they were just part of a strategy. They turned me into a vending machine with a pulse. That same week, Lena tried to reset my email password. I got a security alert and changed everything immediately. The next day, I found her rifling through my dresser drawers, probably looking for banking paperwork or legal files. Then, one night, she sat on the edge of the bed in the spare room, fake tears in her eyes, saying she didn't know how things had gotten so bad, that she was sorry, that Michael didn't mean what he said, that it was her fault, said in anger long ago. I didn't answer. Instead, I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots, the texts, the bank statements, the photo of the mortgage letter, the lawyer's consultation papers, and finally the videos. Her face drained of color, then went bright red. Then she screamed. Michael came running. And that's when everything changed. But that's for the next part. When Michael walked into the room that night, Lena was mid-scream. Her face was flushed, hands shaking, and I was just sitting there on the edge of the bed, calm, holding my phone. Michael looked between us, confused. What's going on? He asked. Without saying a word, I tilted the screen toward him, showing him the text thread from Lena to her sister, the one where she called me a walking wallet, laughed about me working myself into the ground while she planned a girls' trip to Cancun. He blinked, stared, then frowned. What is this? I scrolled. More messages. Her coaching him to be sweet to me when they needed money. Her calling me names behind my back. And then I played a clip from the living room camera of her talking on the phone about how she was planning to divorce me, clean me out in court, and make sure Michael said whatever she needed him to say. Michael's face changed. He looked like he'd been slapped. Like the walls in his brain were crumbling. Mom! Lena jumped up, tried to snatch the phone. I pulled it back, calm as ever. Sit, I said, or leave the room. She froze for a moment. Then she sat. Smart move. I turned to Michael. You deserve to know what's been happening, I said. And then I laid it all out. How the mortgage was months behind while she was buying $300 jeans. How the account I left money in for bills had been emptied. How I'd been paying for his therapy out of pocket directly, no middleman. How his college fund was moved into a secure account he'd access at 18, protected from anyone else. You might think I'm just a wallet, I said quietly, but I'm the guy who chose to be your dad when your real one walked away. The room went silent. Then Lena started crying, not her usual dramatics. This was different. Ugly crying. Snot. Shaking shoulders. The real kind of breakdown you can't fake. Michael didn't say anything. He just stared at her. That night, I packed a bag and told them I'd be staying at my friend Nate's place for a while. I needed space. I needed to breathe. Nate lives across town. We're both in our 40s, both grew up rough, and both enjoy old video games and cheap beer. We spent that night on his couch playing Halo and laughing like we were teenagers again. For a moment, I felt light. The next morning, I woke up to 67 unread texts from Lena. The usual mix: rage, guilt, promises, please. I didn't reply. I went home before work to grab clean clothes and take a quick shower. When I walked in, Michael was sitting at the kitchen table picking at a bowl of cereal. No sign of Lena. She went to my aunt's, he said quietly. I nodded. He looked up. Was all of that real? I sat down across from him. Yeah. Every word. Every message. Every payment. He stared at the table for a long time. Then said, is it my fault? No, I told him. You were a kid caught in the middle of adult choices. Your mom made hers. I'm making mine. Then he did something that caught me off guard. He turned his phone toward me. Screenshots. Pages of texts between Lena and her friends, messages stretching back years. All mocking me. All calling me things like the sucker, the stand-in, the cash cow. Plans. Schemes. How to ask for money. How to guilt-trip me. Why are you showing me this? I asked. Because I believed her, he said. I believed I was just stuck with you because of money or taxes or whatever. And I was a jerk because I thought you didn't really care. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked. Probably for the first time since he hit puberty. It wasn't some magical fix. There's still a lot of pain and a lot of years where he was taught to see me as less. But it was something. For days later, Lena came home to find the locks changed. Legally, I was allowed. My name's the only one on the deed, and I'd already filed the paperwork with my lawyer. Her things were waiting for her on the porch in neat garbage bags. She lost it. Started screaming in the driveway, demanding to be let in. Called me every name she could think of. Lucky for me, the neighbors have doorbell cameras, and one of them even filmed the whole thing from their porch. Lena's not going to spin this in court. Michael didn't say a word. Just stood beside me at the window watching. He chose to stay with me. That was his decision. At 17, the courts would honor it regardless, but he made it before we even got to that point. That took the wind out of Lena's sails. Then something unexpected happened. Lena's sister, who always seemed to hate me, called to apologize. Said she had no idea what Lena had been saying all these years. That Lena had made up lies about me being controlling, manipulative, even abusive. Now she'd seen the proof. Now she knew. Divorce was officially filed. My lawyer says Lena won't get much. The house is safe. My retirement's untouched. No child support since Michael's staying with me and almost 18. Then this morning, the tow truck came and took Lena's car. Apparently, she hadn't made payments in over 3 months. Another thing I didn't know. Another lie. She called me sobbing. Said I needed to help her. I hung up. Michael asked if I'd help him with his college applications. Said Lena usually handled that stuff, but now he didn't trust her to do it right. I said of course. We're working on it this weekend. Just us. And for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough. It's strange how quickly things can change when the truth finally hits daylight. The house feels different now. It's just me and Michael. Quiet, sometimes awkward, but real. No fake smiles, no whispered conversations ending when I walk into the room. Just two people trying to figure out how to rebuild. We're learning. I had to figure out how to feed a 17-year-old with a bottomless stomach. The grocery bill's gone up, but at least now I know where every dollar is going. The dishwasher broke last week, so we spent a whole Sunday watching YouTube tutorials and fixing it ourselves. Flooded the kitchen once, but we laughed. That felt like progress. Lena's staying with her sister. Rent is brutal right now, and with her credit trashed and hours at her mall job inconsistent, she's struggling to even get approved for an apartment. She comes by once a week to see Michael. The first few visits were tense. She tried to pull him aside, whisper things, sow seeds of doubt. Michael recorded everything on his phone and showed me. Smart kid. After the third time, I sat her down at the kitchen table, just me and her, no yelling. I told her if she wanted to keep seeing him, the games had to stop. I laid it all out, what I knew, what Michael knew, what the court had seen. Her expression went through all the stages: anger, denial, bargaining, then something new. Something like defeat. For maybe the first time in 12 years, I saw the real Lena. Not the mask, not the performance. Just a tired woman who ran out of rope. She asked me why I stayed all those years. I told her the truth. I stayed for Michael. But I also stayed because some part of me kept hoping she'd eventually see me. Really see me. Not just as a paycheck or a backup plan, but as a man. As a partner. As a father. She cried again. Not dramatic tears. Quiet ones. Since then, her visits have been calmer. She still makes little comments about the house being messy or asking to borrow money, but the poison is gone. Maybe for good. Maybe not. Time will tell. As for me, I've started moving forward too. A woman I went to school with, Irina, reached out after hearing what happened through the grapevine. Small town, word spreads fast. We'd reconnected on Facebook years ago, casually. This time, she asked if I wanted to grab a coffee. No pressure. Just talk. I said yes. That coffee turned into lunch. Then dinner. We're taking it slow. She knows I've got baggage. Hell, she saw it unfold from a distance for years. Second time we went out, she handed me a small paper bag. Inside was a leather wallet with little legs drawn on it in marker. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped it. Woman's got a wicked sense of humor. Michael noticed something had changed. One night he asked, "So, is Irina your girlfriend, or what?" I told him it was complicated. Adults move slower than teenagers. He rolled his eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. Michael's physical therapy is going great. His doctor says if he keeps up the exercises, he'll be 100% by summer. Last week, he made it through half a pickup game before needing a break. That's the most I've seen him smile in months. We've been touring colleges. Turns out his GPA plus his sports and volunteer work qualify him for some decent scholarships. He wants to study engineering. Said he's always liked building stuff but felt pressured to say he wanted to be a lawyer because Lena always pushed it. Honestly, he told me, I just want to solve problems, not argue about them. Smart kid. The other day while we were changing the oil in my car, he asked about his real dad. Caught me off guard. I told him what I knew. Guy's name was Jason. Moved out west years ago. Got remarried. Has new kids now. Never reached out once. Michael was quiet for a long time. Do you think he regrets leaving? He asked. I looked at him, really looked, and said, I don't know. But any man who could walk away from you missed out on the best kid in the world. He didn't say anything. Just kept handing me tools. But I saw him swipe at his eyes when he thought I wasn't looking. Financially, things are still tight, but I'm managing. Working regular hours again, thank God. My back might never forgive me for those 23 days straight, but it's better now that I'm not trying to carry a whole household on my own. Michael got a weekend job at the grocery store down the street. Says he wants to start buying his own snacks and gas. Maybe it's pride. Maybe it's maturity. Maybe both. But I'm proud of him. Last week was Lena's birthday. Michael wanted to do something nice, so we picked her up and went to that Italian place by the highway. Nothing fancy. She showed up in jeans and a regular sweater, no makeup, no heels. Looked tired. Looked human. Dinner was awkward at first. Long silences, throat clearing. Then Michael started telling a story about face planting in gym class, and we all ended up laughing. For a moment, it felt almost normal. Afterward, in the parking lot, Lena pulled me aside. She said she never thought her life would end up like this. That she always believed I'd just keep taking whatever she dished out. That she regretted what she said after the surgery and everything before it. I nodded. Too late for some things. But I appreciated hearing it. Irina and I are officially a thing now. Facebook status and everything. I met her parents last weekend. Her dad and I spent 3 hours in the garage looking at his old car and handing each other tools. Didn't talk much. Didn't need to. It was peaceful. Irina doesn't stay over when Michael's home. She said he's got enough to process without that. She gets it. No pressure. No expectations. First time I felt like someone sees me, not what I can give them. Yesterday was a big one. Michael had a scholarship interview at the state college. He had to present a project, a water filtration system made from everyday materials. He'd been working on it for weeks. I took the day off to drive him. Sat in the back of the room and watched him stand in front of a panel of adults and absolutely crush it. Confident. Articulate. Smart. Then the lead interviewer asked him if he had any questions for them. And Michael said, "My dad always told me the most important question in any room is, what's the problem nobody's talking about yet?" He said, "My dad. Not stepdad. Not Alex. Dad." The drive home was quiet. Comfortable. We stopped for ice cream even though it was freezing. Some traditions are sacred. In the driveway before we went inside, Michael turned to me. "Was it okay I called you that?" he asked. "Dad, I've been wanting to for a while. Just didn't know if you'd be cool with it." I looked him in the eyes and said, "It's the best thing anyone's ever called me."